Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news, all right. Folks, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you could shake the NFC East to its core. Rumors are swirling from some pretty reliable sources close to Adam Schefter, and the buzz is all about the Cleveland Browns potentially making a blockbuster move that could redefine the Giants' defense and, honestly, their entire season outlook. And if you're a Giants fan, you know how much we've been craving a game-changer on our defense, especially after last year's struggles. Well, this could be it. The story starts with Myles Garrett, one of the most disruptive edge rushers in the league, potentially heading to the Big Apple. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a blockbuster trade, and honestly, it is. The Browns, who have been struggling mightily at 4-10 this season, are reportedly looking to shake things up. Their defense has been leaking points all year, giving up around 30 points per game in 2025, and they seem to be eyeing a rebuild. Sources suggest that Cleveland is seriously considering trading Garrett to the Giants in exchange for 2 first-round picks. That's right, 2 future first-rounders coming to New York, which could be a game-changer for our front 7. But why would Cleveland do this? Well, the Browns are eyeing a rebuild, and they've got their sights set on acquiring draft capital to rebuild their secondary and invest in younger talent. They're also trying to shed some cap space. Garrett's hefty $29 million cap hit in 2026 is a big obstacle for their plans moving forward. Cleveland's management is focused on building a more sustainable roster, especially after a few seasons of high-profile investments that haven't quite panned out. Plus, with their defense underperforming, they're prioritizing picks to shore up the secondary and bring in fresh talent. Now, let's talk about Garrett himself. This guy is a game wrecker. In 2025, he's posted some eye-popping stats: 14 sacks, 35 quarterback hits, 11 tackles for loss, and a PFF grade of 93. Which ranks him as the top 1 edge rusher in the league right now. His pressure rate is around 26%, and he's got a run-stop-win rate of 42%, which is just elite. This guy is not just a pass rusher, he's a complete disruptor. Even with a wrist injury that sidelined him for 2 games in Week 8, Garrett still managed to force 7 fumbles and maintained his dominance. Over his 9-year career, he's racked up 105 sacks, 220 QB hits, and 70 tackles for loss. He's the kind of player who can take over games and change the entire defensive outlook. And that's precisely what the Giants need. Our pass rush has been inconsistent, especially with Thibodeau's sideline this season, which has allowed opponents to average around 3-1 sacks per game against us. We've struggled to generate enough pressure, and that's hurt our ability to close out games and keep points off the board. Bringing in Garrett would fill a huge void, giving us a premier edge rusher who can complement Kayvon Thibodeau and elevate our entire defense. Imagine Garrett lining up across from Thibodeau. That could be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Their combined pressure could increase our pressure efficiency by over 35%, and that kind of dual threat would drastically reduce the points we're allowing, potentially dropping our average from 28 points per game to around 22 or even lower. From a tactical perspective, having Garrett on the line would open up so many possibilities. Opponents would have to account for him constantly, which would free up other pass rushers and linebackers to make plays. Plus, Garrett's ability to stop the run, his plus 22% stop rate versus our current edge 2, would be a huge boost for our defense, allowing us to better contain the run and force teams into passing situations. And I'm telling you, the impact on turnovers could be significant. Garrett's presence alone could lead to more sacks, forced fumbles, and turnovers, adding to our offensive opportunities and helping us flip the field more often. Now, some skeptics might point out Cleveland's cautious stance, with odds of winning the Super Bowl at plus 20-0, and question whether they'd really part ways with such a key piece. But the fact remains that Cleveland is prioritizing youth and draft picks now, especially after a less-than-stellar rebuild effort. They're looking ahead, and Garrett, with his age and contract, might be too costly for their future plans. Plus, the AFC North is a tough division, and Cleveland might see this as an opportunity to start fresh, especially with the Steelers also rebuilding and the Ravens still formidable. For us Giants fans, this potential move is huge. Our pass rush has been a weak spot, especially with Thibodeaux out at times. Adding Garrett would not only bolster our front, but could also be the catalyst we need to turn the season around. Think about it, Garrett's presence would command attention, freeing up other players and making our defense more formidable. It's no secret that the Giants have been building for a contending window, and a move like this could be the final piece to push us over the edge. Our chances of making the playoffs, let alone contending for a Super Bowl, would skyrocket with Garrett on our squad. The numbers speak for themselves. Adding Garrett could boost our pressure rate by over 25%, and that's the kind of impact that can flip a game. And let's not forget the strategic impact. Garrett's ability to contain quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, who has been a nightmare for defenses this season, would elevate us to a new defensive level. His dominance in the trenches would make it so much harder for opponents to find open lanes or develop sustained drives. This kind of defensive dominance could translate into more three-and-outs, more turnovers, and more opportunities for our offense to get rolling. Plus, the mental edge this kind of star player brings can't be overstated. It sets the tone for the entire team and energizes our fan base. Looking at the bigger picture, this kind of move would be reminiscent of some of the great trades in NFL history that changed the fortunes of franchises. Think about how J.J. Watt's move to the Texans or Bosa's impact on the 49ers turned their teams into defensive nightmares almost overnight. Garrett's addition could elevate the Giants' defense to that level, making us a legitimate contender in the NFC. The odds of us winning the Super Bowl would improve dramatically, going from +50-0 to around +15-0, which is a huge jump in the betting world. It puts us right in the conversation, especially as we face tougher division rivals like Philadelphia, who have a solid offensive line and a high-powered offense led by Jalen Hurts. Of course, all of this is speculative for now, but the signs point toward a very real possibility. The Giants have the assets, draft picks, and cap space to make a move like this happen. Scone has shown he's not afraid to make bold moves when the opportunity presents itself, and this could be his masterstroke before the offseason even begins. It's a strategic play, adding an elite pass rusher to contain the Eagles' offensive line, elevate our defense, and set us up for a deep playoff run. If this trade goes through, it's game on for the NFC East, and the Giants could finally position themselves as true contenders once again. In summary, folks, what's happening right now might be one of the biggest offseason stories for the Giants in recent memory. A potential trade for Myles Garrett could be the move that puts us over the top, making our defense elite and dramatically increasing our chances of a deep playoff run. It's the kind of move that can define a franchise's direction for years to come, and honestly, I couldn't be more excited. We've waited for a star like Garrett, and if this happens, it's not just about winning games. It's about establishing a new era of dominance in the NFC East. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Giants should go all in for Garrett? Would you trade those 2 first-round picks for a player who could be our defensive cornerstone for years to come? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Giants. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Giants news. Let's keep the passion alive, and as always, let's go Big Blue.